to sleep, I pray the Lord that I wake again. I wake again, I pray the Lord that I now I lay me down to sleep, I pray the Lord that I wake again. I wake again, I pray the Lord that I wake
Welcome to Dinner with the Coaches. I am your host, Nadira Lewis, and I have my wonderful co-host with me tonight, Coach Thomas.
Yeah. Woo! Let's go. Let's get it.
What is up?
Time to go. Hey. You know how it is. Just keep it in between the white lines.
Yes, absolutely. We want to thank each and every one of you that are watching with us live tonight here on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok Live. Thank you so much for watching us. If you are watching us via Facebook, make sure you click like and share if you are enjoying the content that we are bringing to you each and every week. If you are watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you click the notification button so that you can be notified every time we upload a new video. So
yeah, we need some theme music, right? We need some music in the background. We need some theme music, you know?
I can get you some theme music.
Theme music, boy.
Need some music. But
start rocking from side to side.
I know, right? But before we do, we're gonna go ahead and play this video like that.
Yeah, that's cool. A little something. Yeah, gotta get that energy up, boy.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna go ahead after we're gonna continue with Dinner with the Coaches. So we'll be right back. Thanks again for watching. Make sure you call your friends up if you know someone who is in need of coaching and have questions for us, for Thomas and I here. We are here for you. We'll be right back after this.
Long before the beginning of all other beginnings, God is. In a burst of creative activity, God creates the world and everything in it. Humans are designed to live inside of this unique relationship, but they choose otherwise. The law of God is broken, and the heart of God is pierced. But the story isn't over. In the fullness of time, God gives his Son, born of a woman, born under the law. Jesus comes to seek and save those who are lost, wounded for our transgressions, crushed for our iniquities. On the cross, God is in Christ, reconciling the world to himself. And with a loud cry, Jesus breathes his last. But the story isn't over. On the morning of the third day, the power of the living God erupts, breaking through death with the moment that will define all other moments. Perched at the edge of heaven, the angels stand in awe as one of their own rolls away the stone that's guarding the body of Jesus. As if anything can guard Jesus. He walks out of the tomb alive. He is victorious. He is conquering death and rendering the grave unnecessary. He is living and moving and breathing as only the risen Son of God can. But the story isn't over. We are, every one of us, searching and hoping and longing for life. It's a desire that's been deposited into our souls by the very same God who spoke it all into existence. And it's this exact life that the resurrection of Jesus invites us into. So bring your hopes, your regrets, your successes, and your failures, Bring your doubts, your joys, your fears, and your dreams. Be resolute and unwilling to settle for anything less than the abundant life of the risen King. Because truly, if the story isn't over, then what happens next might just change everything.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like,
Just might change everything.
I never get
Woo!
that because there's something that just sparks inside when it comes to when I hear like the wording behind it, when I see like the creatives around it, it's like, man, it just, I don't know, it just does something to my spirit, man. Like, I don't know, but so Thomas,
Yes.
introduce our topic for tonight, and let's.
Yeah. All right. Well, tonight it's just going to be you and I, right? Which is cool. You know, that's a good thing. We can go ahead and rock it. All right. So tonight, what we're going to talk about is something that we kind of been talking about for the last probably week or so, but we really got good confirmation today. And the question, those that are listening, the question is, does your foundation need to be repoured? All right. So I'm saying it again. Does your foundation, what you stand on, what has gotten you to where you are, does it need to be repoured? And we're going to kind of jump into that, you know, kind of lightly right now. Then we'll probably get into the deep on the second half. But just to kind of explain that topic, and what that topic is really referencing is, for the majority of us, not all of us, but for the majority of those that are listening, are typically first generation business owners, right? Entrepreneurs, things of that nature, right? Because our previous generations, you know, our moms and pops, and even our grandparents, they pretty much came up in the system that gave them the ability to work for a corporation, whether it be, you know, IBM, GM, Ford, you know, Sears, Grumman, like all of these type of, you know, blue chip, blue collar working establishments where it allowed them to invest 20, 30, you know, 40 plus years, right? And that allowed, you know, those individuals at that time to really take care of their family, right? So now what happens is, sometimes the children that come out of that philosophy, now you have a 9-to-5 philosophy. Well, now you feel like you want to do a little something different, and you want to have your own business. You want to be an entrepreneur, but now you have to ask yourself the fundamental foundation, right? The building blocks that you already have. By the time you reach the point where you can actually start your own business, does that need to be repoured? And when we talk about repoured, what we're talking about is, does that philosophy that you have need to be broken up and then rebuilt, right? Starting from you, because sometimes we think that we are our entity, like the entity that we created is separate from who we are. But you know, we as the CEOs and the presidents and the founders, sometimes we don't realize there's certain things that we have to do that we were never taught. But the foundation is built already, meaning your philosophy, how you are, your driver, those things are already built inside of you, right? So as coaches, I think we're seeing, you know, different clients and different individuals kind of realize, and even they even teach this, and, you know, for anybody that's out there that's in network marketing, right? It's big in network marketing, because network marketing teaches you that you can never grow past your team. Okay, I'll say it again. You as an individual can never grow past your team. So what does that mean? That means in order for your team to grow, you have to grow. Well, how do you grow? We grow by breaking up the foundation of the things that we were taught. Because the things that we were taught, they won't necessarily sustain where we say we want to go, right? That's why if you really into network marketing, they do everything in 90-day increments. Every 90 days, there's another special, right? Every 90 days, there's another challenge. Every 90 days, there's another bonus to strive towards, right? Because the philosophy is that continuously retraining your mind to hit reset, start again, reset, start again, build, grow, build, learn, grow, a continuous motion. So something that you were kind of really standing on the previous 90 days, guess what? It doesn't work for the next 90 days. Right? So you constantly have to work on yourself to elevate yourself in order to be in a position where they'll say, new blood is the lifeblood of your business. Right? So we kind of get asphyxiated with those that are in our businesses already. So we feel that we don't have to grow. But you do in order for your team to grow. Right? So you want to jump in on that?
Yeah, I think that's true, because I think ultimately when you work a 9 to 5, I mean, let's just face it, when you work a 9 to 5, there is a different mindset, right? And there are some things that you have to shift to, because when you're working for somebody else, you're not really bearing the weight of really a whole lot of responsibility besides the part that you do or the part that you play in making sure the job gets done. When you get home, you don't take that responsibility home with you. You need a different mind shift, because entrepreneurs have to be resourceful. We have to be creative. We have to be innovative. We have to be influential. We have to be impactful. And in order for us to do that, there are things that we have to change our mindset. I tell my son this all the time. I said, when you're an entrepreneur, you have to guard your mind, right? Mm-hmm. Sure that whatever it is that's going in and out of your mind, that you're guarding it, because what happens is if you know that you're is that better?
A little bit.
Okay.
So I kind of hear every other word.
Okay, because I could be overshadowing. You know what I'm saying? Is that better?
Okay, that was better. Yeah.
It could be overshadowing. So
yeah, there you go.
So I told my son, and I tell him this all the time, you have to, being in the creative space, you have to guard your mind, right? Because even the Bible tells us to guard our heart with all diligence, because God flows the issues of life, right? And when you think about your mind, it's the same way. If you don't guard your mind from against negativity, against anything that threatens your creative space, it will affect how you perceive things, receive things, and create things. So you definitely can't use a 9 to 5, or it requires a specific mindset that keeps you focused. And whatever that is different for each entrepreneur. Some people create that space with just being, isolated, with just reading books all day. Some people use it some people change their mindsets by going to seminars and being a part of different communities to keep that surrounding of that like-mindedness in order to keep their mind shifted. You have to do whatever it takes to make sure that you're guarding your mind and making sure that when it comes to producing anything, when it comes to your business, that there's nothing there that's going to hinder you from moving forward. Because I'm telling you, that is how, not everybody's not built to be an entrepreneur, because not everybody has the mental stamina, to go through some things, because being resourceful requires creativity. Being resourceful requires concentration. It requires a fortitude of never giving up. I'm going to be unstoppable. And if you are defeated in your mind, if you're defeated in your personal life, oh, trust me, it's going to affect your business and everything else around you.
Yeah, facts. And to piggyback off of that, when you really understand your foundation is built around your why, right? So let's kind of touch on that for a moment, right? And I always tell people, like, if your why is not strong enough to make you cry, you need to kind of reevaluate your why. because why you move and why you do things should be the start of your foundation. Like it's a fundamental ingredients of your foundation. Why? Why is that important? It's important because as you build your business, right? As you build your edifice, right? You're going to encounter these things in life called storms, right? Hey, they're not fun, but nobody is exempt, right? Everybody has to experience life. Everybody that's living and breathing will experience the storms of life. That's just a part of it, right? So if your business and if you yourself are not rooted in your why, right? Your fundamental reasoning as to why you are out there in the marketplace, you will be tested.
Yes.
Your very fiber and your being will be tested to determine how bad do you want what you say you want, right? So if you don't have an anchor in terms of why, when it's tested, it's easy for you to walk away, right? Now let's go one level deeper before we go into break in the next 10 minutes. In this day and age of this thing called social media, business media, microwave media, you come with all these fancy names, right? I've talked to different individuals, right? And for some reason, we're getting asphyxiated, and it's because of the marketplace. We're getting asphyxiated on likes. We're getting fixated on followers, right? So, but those things become superficial to why you're actually doing what you're doing. When you understand that fundamental premise on your why, it doesn't matter. You're not counting how many people like what you put out there.
Right.
Right? You're not counting how many followers you gain. Right? Because if that's your measurement, what's going to happen is when you don't get what you feel you should have, now you're emotionally charged now, right? And once you're emotionally charged, based upon how you feel and how it's going, it can sway you one way or the other. But when you set on why are you doing what you're doing, you're solid. So if you get no likes and no additional followers, or if you get 100 likes, 1,000 new followers, you're swayed either way because you're focused on the goal as to why you're doing what you're doing, right? I use horses as an analogy. Why in a Kentucky Derby horse race, if you ever watch one, they have blinders on. They have blinders on that horse. Why? Because they want to keep that horse focused on the end goal. If you ever watch a Kentucky Derby horse race, those horses are side by side. If you ever watch a horse in the wild, in the natural, anything that's around that horse will respond to. Right? So the blinders keep that horse focused. All he could see is what's in front of him.
Right.
Right? Just think about if we said we want to, start a new business, right? Become entrepreneurs, right? And somebody said, okay, cool. And you said, okay, Thomas, right? The first thing I'm going to do, Thomas, is I'm going to put these blinders on you. Man, you spaz out. You go crazy. Like, what? Blinders? Yeah. I'm going to put these blinders on you. So all you can see is the finish line to where you say you want to go. Are you okay with that, Thomas? I'm like, well, what about, no, you say you want to get here, right? You know why you're doing it. I'm going to put these blinders on you so you can stay focused. Now, when you get to the finish line, Thomas, I'm going to take the blinders off. So you can see what's going on around you. Just think about that. If that was a prerequisite for the success of your business, those that are listening, would you take that challenge? Right? Because for the most part, we are in a position where we want to gauge our success and failures by somebody else.
Wow.
Right? We get on this thing in the morning, whoop-de-whoop, Instagram, TikTok. Oh, they doing that? Oh, wow, okay. Man, I don't have that many followers. Wow. Oh, you know what? I wanted to do that, man. Now they doing it. And you discouraged just by picking up the phone. Just picking up the phone. Now you discouraged. And you don't even know those people. You don't even know them. But we get caught in this superficial life, right? This superficial world. That's not real, ladies and gentlemen. It's not real.
Right.
You watch people on Facebook and everything is going fine, everything is good. Next thing you know, you hear they're getting a divorce. You're like, what? Did I just see them? They was in Paris or they was in Jamaica? So I'm like, no, they're getting a divorce. It's superficial, right? So when you really understand the fundamental reasons why this topic is crucial, because our foundation is the root, right? Our foundation, and I said this before, if you ever go to a metropolitan city, if you want to know how high they're going to erect a building, go where that construction site is and look at how deep they're digging the trench, they're digging a hole.
Mm-hmm.
Because that will determine how high that building's going to be erected, right? How high it's going to stand, how many stories it's going to have. Because they know that building is going to encounter storms. It's going to encounter earthquakes, right? Tornadoes, right? All of these things that they have no control over. But this is good. But if you know those things are inevitable, Nadira, why not build a solid foundation? If you know that you're going to encounter storms in your business, why not find a coach to help you break up the foundation that you currently have if the foundation is not getting you the results that you want? See, if you're not where you want to be, I implore you to find somebody, a coach, to help you go back a little bit, break up that foundation, and help you re-pour a different foundation so now you can springboard and become that person that we know you can become.
Yeah, the hardest thing in breaking up, because though that sounds easy, break up the foundation and pour, but thinking about it in literal terms, breaking up the foundation is the difficult part, because when you're breaking up something, it requires a little bit of destruction, right? If there are things that happens when it comes to shifting your mindset from one place to another place, there's some disconnecting that you have to do from one place to another place. The hardest thing to do is to unlearn what you already have learned all your life, to undo the thinking that you have created all of your life. It's habit. It's like we discussed before, that if your parents tell you that the sky is yellow, it's the law of first truth. It doesn't matter if you have proof that the sky is yellow.
Yeah.
And it was yellow. So if mama or grandma said it was yellow, it's yellow. So everything that your foundation, breaking up the foundation required, that can be very painful. It can be destructive. It can be uncomfortable, because now you're messing with belief systems. You're tapping into belief systems that people have been used to governing their life with all their lives. So to and interrupt somebody's belief system and say that you have to, you're not seeing the results of your life because this is how if you've been dealing with financial issues, it's because the way you're managing your money. Let's break up. Let's see how you view money. Let's see how you are utilizing your finances. And that gives us an idea of what we need to do, or what foundations that we need to break up in order to recreate those patterns, recreate a new pattern, so that you're not creating the same habit.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be tough, because the talking about it is always the easy part. But when you're talking about shape-shifting a person's mindset, it is work. And it's almost like, I saw a meme one time, and they said something about the hardest thing to do is try to save a person who has never learned how to swim.
Oh yeah.
because
Yeah.
they are going to be choking you, pulling
Yeah.
you. It's going to be a painful process. As coaches, when we are helping people transition their mindset from one arena to the next, we don't know. We have to make sure that we are skilled and that we are solid in how we think and that we are solid
Mm.
in our belief system so that their opinions, their disapprovals, their feedback don't choke us.
Yeah.
Trying.
Ooh, that's good.
And so that can be a difficult thing because learning how to separate feedback from constructive criticism that can be difficult because it's breaking up foundation. If you're used to not getting feedback and you're used to getting criticism, you have to make sure that you're solid so that you don't feel choked if I tell you that what you are doing or the habits that you're creating is not giving you the results that you want
Mhm.
because of how you're thinking and how you're operating, how you're maneuvering. And but if for somebody who has never learned the principles about things like that, it's easier to teach them because they don't have anything to combat against. But for somebody who has had finances, somebody who has had a great job,
Mhm.
business, somebody who feels like they're in a position of influence to turn around and say, okay, I need to break up this foundation. That can be hard. That can be hard.
Yeah. So here's the question that makes it a little bit more palatable, right? And we're gonna get a little bit deeper after the break. The question would be, and those that are listening, is your current foundation built on your skills or is your current foundation built on your gifts?
Mm.
Because those two are diametrically opposed. So when we talk about changing and breaking up your foundation, if your foundation has not been built on your gifts, that foundation will not sustain once you start to move from your skills into your gifts.
Right. Ooh, we'll be right back after this. Coach, do you need help with clarity, strategy, and mindset along with execution? Get coaching from a group of professional coaches here at Dinner with the Coaches. You can send us Thomas and I a message at the @ Dinner with the Coaches. And we are back here with Dinner with the Coaches with Thomas Taylor III.
Yeah.
Myself, Nadira
Good
Lewis.
evening. Good evening.
That are continuously watching. Thomas, I was thinking about something that we discussed earlier, and
Okay.
and I was like, sometimes when thoughts come to your mind, it's like, darn, I should have wrote that down. But you said something earlier when we were talking, and I thought that was so powerful. I can't, it just like left my brain, but it's going to come back as we're talking. But you said something that was so powerful, and I was like, dang it, during the commercial, I got the jigging and jagging to the commercial. Like, you be on my line about nothing.
Left.
Tell us something. I traded one thought for the
It'll come back.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so we left off with, in terms of your foundation, right? Is your current foundation built primarily on your skills or your gifts, right? Now that's a great kind of question, because if your current foundation doesn't have any of your gifts in it, right? Now what'll happen is, when you discover, and the question for those that are listening is, do you know what your gifts are? Have you stopped to even think about what are your natural born talents or your gifts? Right? That's the first question. And most people haven't stopped to think about it, or nobody have actually asked them that question. Right? So, okay, so let's say you have identified your gifts. It doesn't mean that you have to build a business around your gifts. Now, if you find out a way to get a coach to help you to monetize your gifts, you way ahead of the game, because anything that you do, it doesn't feel or seem like work.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the other part of your gifts. If you actually utilize your gifts in the business that you actually created, it changes the tide. It changes the direction of your business. It's like being out there in a business. Your business is like being out there in a sailboat with no sail. What happens when you don't have a sail? You go whichever way the wind blows. When you put a sail up on a sailboat, now you can determine and direct the direction of that sailboat. Well, think about if you actually utilize your gifts in a direction that you're already going. You can move exponentially. But if your foundation, if your fundamental foundation and the premise on what you believe, how you started your business, does not include your gifts, it's a part that you're missing. That's why we talk about just kind of breaking up the foundation. And now, once you identify your gifts, utilizing your gifts as a fundamental foundation of a business model. Yes. Because now you don't have to go out and you're not struggling to move. You're not struggling to do things, right? Because you identify some things that you do well. Right. Again, I'd use me as an example. Right. One of my gifts is I have the ability to inspire people. Right. God has given me the ability to move people from where they are, right, to another level. Right. Even though where they are could be their reality. Right. It doesn't mean that it's good or bad. It's just where they are. Right. But I have a gift. I have a natural gift. Right. To paint this picture, this vision that's different from a person's reality. And why is that important? That's important because of your reticular activating system. Says once your mind has been exposed to a thought or an idea, guess what? It can't go back. So if I can stretch your imagination, if I can stretch your vision, you just might believe that you can do it. Now, if you have limited belief, we can help you with that. We can help you with your limited beliefs. And you can borrow ours until you start to get your own. So why is that important? Because, Jim Rohn always talks about that imagination is the closest thing to reality. Imagination. So if you can imagine it, think about everything that we experience, right? Pens, this platform that we on, it was in somebody's imagination. It was a thought first before it became real, right? Why they always say thoughts become things, right? So again, so that's a gift that I have. If I can stretch you past where you feel you can only see, now your imagination takes over and you might just want to peek. But once you get a glimpse, boy, of what it could be, you can never go back and think about how it was. Okay? So again, right? So I broke up, my foundation with your help and, a couple other coaches that I had to re-pour that foundation, right? To start to utilize some of these things that are my gifts to help individuals move past where they are, right? I do Facebook Lives on Sunday. We do dinner with the coaches on Sunday evenings. Now I do reels when I'm going to the gym, 5 o'clock in the morning, inspiring people. Hey, where you at? Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's 5 o'clock. Let's go. Let's get it. Where you at? Where those goals you said that you had? Come on, you can do it. See? Only because I'm utilizing my gifts. Right? So that's kind of what I'm talking about. Whereas most of us have only been taught and focused on skills that created a monetary situation for us, that paid the mortgage, that paid the bills. And then we acquired more skills and more skills. But nobody ever asked you, Nadira, like, what are your gifts? Like, what are you good at? If you don't know what you're good at, what are other people saying that you do well? Because I'm sure, you have people around you who can give you some feedback if you ever asked.
Yeah. And a lot of people might ask, well, how do I know? How can I point out certain areas of my life that will help me identify what my gifts are? And your gifts are things that you do naturally, things that you do naturally without effort. It's what you do in terms of what you're passionate about, what you're passionate about and what you do effortlessly. And to go back to what you were talking about as far as skills, most people don't understand that your gifts help you to be more effective in your skill set. So agree with the fact that you should be focusing on your gifts and not really focusing on skills. Skills are great because skills help you when it comes to the marketplace. It helps you to piece things together to make things work, like systems and programs. But your gift is comprised of the very grain and fiber of who you are. When God created us, he imparted some things on the inside of us that make everything we do function with purpose. So when you think about identifying your gifts, it's something that God has placed on the inside of you that helps you function with purpose. So it's different if somebody you can have two people, and I remember Jerome said this one time, you can have two people do the exact same thing, right? And one person get paid more money doing the exact job. The difference is their ability to tap into their gifts. Because you can have somebody, and it was funny because he was using an example like, McDonald's at that time, it's changed, but McDonald's being paid $5 an hour. He was like, but if you take out the garbage, what it's the $6.
Make $6.
Make $6. The key thing to grasp in that analogy is that you can have two people do the exact same thing, but if your gifting, which is, as I explained, is your ability, your gift helps you to tap into your purpose, right? Whether in your skill. So if you have somebody who is gifted, who has a gift of encouraging people, who have a gift of being able to create something, they will take a skill set and take it to a whole nother level. I, for instance, didn't realize that I had a gift for media, right? I did not know that. I knew I had a gift to be able to talk. I knew I enjoyed talking to people one-on-one. I knew I enjoyed helping people because I felt like it was it was connected to my purpose. So that's why when I was living in the shelter and I was ministering to different women in the shelter, it came natural. While I would do the sisterhood check-in, it came natural. When I was doing the home Bible studies, most people didn't know that I was doing, my late husband and I used to do home Bible studies. We did studies for children. We did home Bible studies with adults, and we had 40, 50 people at our house every week. But most people don't know that. And it's not something I walk around saying, hey, look what we did. but I did not know that at that time, my gift was the ability to encourage, the ability to instruct through wisdom from the experiences of my own life. It helped me do my skill really well. So when it came to doing sisterhood check-in, dinner with the coaches, that was stuff I learned, right? It wasn't my gift, it was what I learned. My gift helped me perfect my skill. So now whenever we do production, or whenever I'm creating, these platforms, or creating programs, or creating commercials, promos, or whatever, I'm thinking about my gift, my ability to tap into my purpose. What do I do naturally? I like to encourage. I like to give wisdom. And so if I use my gift and ability to give wisdom, and my purpose is driving that gift, then that means no matter what skill set that I'm in, it's going to be done in what most people consider a spirit of excellence. But I just you perfect. That's really, when you think about people, when they say spirit of excellence, that's really all they're saying is you perfecting your skill set. Well, your skill set is perfected when you tap into your gift. You might be good at doing something, but you're even better when you understand why you're doing it.
Yeah, that's a good segue, because that why is so key. Now, why is that why key? Because it goes right into commitment and consistency, that I kind of talked about a few weeks or so, about 2 weeks ago, back last week. And when you really committed, right, not just verbally committed, right, but when you're all the way vested, and you have somebody to hold you accountable, it starts to breathe consistency. And that's very vital, right? Because now you start to gain some experience on that thing that you say you do well, right? Well, what are other people saying, right? Well, you're not committed. Yeah, you're not consistent enough for somebody to have a view or an opinion, right? But when you start to get and you start to gain that commitment, you really understand that you're committed to the cause, because the cause is greater than you. And now you're consistent. And I always talk about John C. Maxwell's book, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. It talks about the law of the mo, which is momentum. Why is that important? That's important because once you say I do, and you're committed to the process, right? Of whatever it is that you say you wanted to do, you're committed, not swayed based upon, likes or people, getting on your followers and stuff, but you just committed to the process. Now you start to gain some consistency. And inside of that consistency, you can start to work on yourself. Because I promise you, you're going to get some feedback because you're consistent, right? You're going to get feedback from people who wish they were consistent, right? And then you're going to get feedback on people that help you be more consistent, right? Why? Because they're just waiting for you not to show up, Nadira.
Right.
Why? Because that's what most people do. Most people start something, they don't ever finish. Most people start something, they don't carry it through. Most people get excited, start something, and then phase out. That's typical, right? So that's why it's so easy to beat the masses. And I teach this all the time. Well, why is it easy, Thomas? Because first of all, you got to do is show up. You already beat half of them, right? Then the second thing, all you got to do is do a little bit more. Right? Now you way out ahead of everybody because you showed up and you just did a little bit more. Now, why is that significant? Because most people won't, Nadira.
Right.
It's not that they can't, they won't. Why? Because they only want to do is just enough. They don't want to do more. They want to do just enough, right? And now that moves right into Pareto's rule, Pareto's law, Pareto's rule, the 80-20 rule, Pareto's law, right? 80-20, right? 20% of people do 80% of the work. That's in church. That's at work. That's at your lodge meeting. That's at your sorority meetings. That's at your family cookout. That's at your family reunion. I could go on and on. It's always going to show up, right? So just think about it, ladies and gentlemen. If you're consistent, right, and if you're committed, guess where that puts you? In the 20%. Right out the gate, it puts you in the 20 percentile. And if you want to get more granular, it probably puts you in the 10 to 5 percentile of individuals, right? That's why they talk about, the 1% of people, the rich people control everything. 1%, right? And it makes a difference because they move differently, right? But they understand, what I'm talking about now. And just think about it. If you have a business, if you understand that, right? Now, guess what? You hire 80%ers and you hire 20%ers because you need both of them. You need some people that's just going to come in and do their job, and that's all they're going to do. They're not going to do nothing else, right? Then you need people that'll come in and do just a little bit more, right? And then as they get comfortable, right, they'll do a whole lot more because they understand that they're a 20%er, right? So in your business, right, entrepreneurship, are you building that business on a solid foundation that includes your gifts? We already know that you have the skill to do it. But let's sprinkle a little bit of your gifts on it, right? Because now, when you sprinkle some of your gifts on that foundation, it becomes more solid, right? And it permeates. It becomes more of who you naturally are, right? We're not saying either or. We're not saying one or the other, right? We're saying if you're heavy on your skills, try to get your gifts to at least be in the conversation somewhere, right? And then start to get a little bit more balanced. So now your skills are your skills, but now your gifts, right? It's a different swag with your gifts because now it don't feel like it's a job. It don't feel like it's work. That business, it's not so hard now because there are things that you do naturally that make it move. Now life is going to come, obstacles are going to come, but they're not going to stop you. You're just going to walk over them, right? I always use that example about, when you're in the airplane, what does he say? Fasten your seatbelts. Why? Because we're going to experience turbulence. When? Before we get to a what? Cruising altitude. So are you telling me that we can't get there until we go through turbulence? If that's how you want to put it, Thomas, that's how it is. Because before you get to a cruising altitude in your business, guess what you have to go through? Some sort of turbulence to get you to a point where now things are running a little bit smoother. Nadira?
Yeah.
10 minutes, boy.
Because the more I kept hearing you, most people probably wonder why we keep saying gifts. Why is there so much emphasis on gifts? Because there's a lot of things that we do skillfully that we do well, but we don't understand. We get discouraged when we get into things and our skill or our passion, drives us in a different direction. And we start to ask questions like, well, then what we do as coaches is we look at you and see what you do that draws passion out of you. What is it that's on the inside of you that stirs you up when you do it, right? And when you think about that, what's driving that passion, what's driving that purpose is the impartation of whatever God put on the inside of you. And I think when you find out what that is, and sometimes that's not so easily discoverable, especially when you got your hands on multiple different things. When you got your hands on multiple different things, all you see is your skill set, right? The only right on your resume is your skill set, because the only thing that you see without understanding what your gift is what you do, what you're good at in whatever it is that you do. Not realizing that the reason why you do it so naturally, the reason why you're so good at whatever you do at your job or at your workplace is because there is a driving force. There is a why that is driving you, that is fueled with passion, and that passion is fueled because of an impartation of something that God has given you that pushes you through any circumstances, that make you get up and do it no matter how you feel. Thomas been with the coaches for a year, July maybe.
Yeah.
And we do it every week, and we've had some time off, but every week we talk to each other and we like, okay, our gift, the driving force and our passion to do what we are called to do is through dinner with the coaches is driving us. And so it's like when we realize that there's a driving force behind it, it pushes us through the moments when you don't feel like it. It pushes you through the moments when you don't feel like, oh wow, I don't even know what I'm gonna talk about. It pushes you. We have those guests, we don't have guests, but we still show up and we still be. You know, you and I talked about it, you know, earlier with one of our clients, is that the importance of being being the content, because we spend so much time, and that's why some of us don't go live, don't show up in business, in our marriage, don't show up in relationships, because we don't know how to be. We're so used to trying to create instead of just allowing things to just be. When we be who we are, oh my God.
Yeah, powerful.
Wow. The moment I started being who I was, it was easy for me to flow in conversation and coaching. I didn't even know that coaching was going to be what I was doing.
Yep.
I just enjoyed inspiring women, giving women wisdom in all areas of their life, wisdom that I have learned in my own experience, that through the word of God, I wanted to give that. I was passionate about that. I didn't know that it was going to lead me to any type of broadcast or anything like that. I had no idea of that. I just did what I need to do. So all this did was take a skill set that I had learned, because I didn't go to college to do this. I didn't go, of course we went to school to be to be certified to become coaches. But at the same time, really, in all actuality, the certification was just really, it just really confirmed what was already there. It didn't. It just really just was like, hey, this is what I'm doing. But I've been doing it I've been doing it for years, since I could remember. So I think what happens is when you focus on the driving force, on what causes you to do what you do, it'll push you past those moments where you just feel like, I just can't. Charmaine says, I definitely learned that from you. Thank you, Charmaine.
Yeah, that's awesome, boy.
Because let me tell you this, people buy products and services because of you, right? They know, like, and trust you, right? So what happens is when you show up as you, if your content changes you first, I'm going to more than likely say, okay, I'm going to trust everything that comes out of his or her mouth, because everything that she's saying, there's a conviction behind it. If you're telling somebody to do something and you operating in it in your own life, there's power in consistency in the things that you do and say. And so what I realized in just being who I was, I didn't have to. I told you, I was looking at these YouTube videos because I like to just look at different people and just see how they're showing up. So I'm on YouTube and I'm looking at this guy. He's doing nothing, Thomas. And people are sitting in front of him, and he's just saying maybe 2 or 3 words, and all he's doing is just kind of just reading their energy and just kind of, just sensing or discerning, how we use it in the biblical sense, discerning where they are mentally, spiritually. And I think that's what happens when you tap into your gifts. You start to discern things, you start to pick up stuff, right? And you start to realize, okay, wait a minute, why am I working so hard at this? This is something that should come naturally. And when I was watching this guy, and I'm like, I literally, believe it or not, I watched this guy for an hour, talk to these people, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what is he doing? He
got to be crazy.
People in the room waiting to sit in front of him. And I said to myself, wow, when you think about the scripture that says, what is man that thou art mindful of him? When we are made in the image and likeness of God, that means when you think about image and likeness, that we have the ability to command things to like we were saying with the guy, the doctor or whatever, who was talking about the what happens in our thought process. And he was they can take our thoughts, we can think a thought, and they can connect it to a computer and literally determine, it can literally go out in the atmosphere. And I said to myself, what is man that thou art mindful? What is it that God has placed on the inside of us that makes us so powerful when we are aware?
Amen.
When we are aware,
Yeah.
the enemy's job is to keep us in ignorance, right? To keep us unaware. That's why he said he will not make us ignorant of Satan's devices, right? The more aware that we are, the more we have clarity of thought. We have clarity of strategy. We have clarity of execution. So when you meet with coaches, you're meeting with us so that we can help you bring awareness. You know, when we're coaching each other, we're bringing awareness to things that we may have not things that we have not known or maybe forgotten, which is why Paul always said that he will continue to bring us into remembrance. Remembering, repetition brings awareness. The more you do something repeatedly is the more aware you become of who you are, and it becomes easier to be who you are when you are aware of who you are. That's why ignorance is like most people understand that ignorance is like the worst. Ignorance is not knowing something. When you don't know something, you're ignorant to something. I remember a guy, and I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna shut up because I know you got me on the first time, 2005, right? And you guys probably can relate to this. And let us know where you're watching from. But let me tell you, this guy came to my house, right? And our refrigerator was broke. We had got the refrigerator. You know, when you buy your appliances, when you buy your house. And I could not get the water thing to work, right? So I kept saying, man, like, so he was like, it's going to cost X amount of dollars to come out here and fix it. And so I was like, okay, well, you know, we don't know how to fix it. He came in, Thomas, fixed the water thing in 3 seconds. Literally, 3 minutes, like 3 minutes. So I said, whoa, wait. What you done already? He said, yeah. I said, well, I just paid you like $175 and you done in 3 minutes. I wanted you to stay there and work because our minds are conditioned. We're so used to trading time for dollars.
For money.
So I started thinking to myself, wait a minute, what are you doing? And he said, you didn't pay me for what you didn't pay me for what I did. You paid me for what I know.
Yeah. Amen.
What he was, and I said to myself, I could have done that. The difference was I was not aware.
Yeah, you didn't know.
I wasn't aware. So the more you are aware of your impact, the more you are, or should I say, the more you're aware of who you are, you become aware of your impact. You become aware of your confidence is there because the confidence is nothing but awareness. You know, self-esteem is nothing but you becoming aware of your worth. You becoming aware of who you are. When you become aware, then you just show up as you are. You don't have to create, you don't have to make yourself be anything. You just be.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Good stuff. And I want to piggyback off of that awareness, right? And I had a conversation with a good friend of mine, and he didn't really understand the benefit of a coach, right? He just thought that it was just unnecessary until I started coaching him, right? And now he said, Thomas, everybody actually needs a coach. I said, they do, but they're not aware that they need a coach though. See, I said, you see the difference? I said, because unfortunately, especially in our community, right, we don't sit on couches, right? If we got issues or challenges, we don't go and sit on the couch unless we're forced to, right? So we don't go to talk to somebody, you know, therapist or something, to sit on the couch, right? But unfortunately, we attach coaches to couches, and they're two separate things. So we say to ourselves, like, why would I pay somebody to do or tell me something that I already know? You're paying for the awareness. Makes a difference. It makes a difference. Whether you know or you don't know, right? It makes a difference because now somebody either is going to hold you accountable for what you do know or help you become aware of what you don't know. That's the benefit of a coach. Yeah. Right? So when I was telling him, he was like, man, he said, Thomas, you could have never even, convinced me. I said, yeah, because see, what I did with you is I didn't beat you over the head and tell you, hey, you need a coach and I need to coach you. No, I just soft coach you. I just coach you without you realizing and knowing I was coaching you until you was aware, because when you look back, you realize you're no longer at the same place. And how you got to where you are, because you can articulate it, was you had a guide. You had somebody that guided you.
Right.
Who challenged you, who stretched you, who supported you. It's called a coach. I didn't say I was coaching you though, because we get lost in the terminology. We get all confused with the terminology. But that's what it is. It's the ability to help somebody become aware of something they don't know, and or hold them accountable for what they do know. Top of the hour.
Sorry. Getting those last 30
Oh man, we just getting started. We just getting our swag on, boy. Hey, we hope you guys are enjoying it, because we just out here. We want to make a little difference. Want to help anybody that's willing to listen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I would have to say, if you know that you are, if you're aware, is the appropriate word. If you are aware that you are here for a reason, and you know that there's something that you are destined to do, and you may be already doing it, and you may need somebody to help you in that process of, because I always say this, just like athletes, they still practice, right? It doesn't matter how great they are, they still have practice, right? They still meet, they still get together, and they sharpen each other, and they learn new playbooks, right? And in order to be successful at their craft, it's the same thing with coaching. We're here to help you with your craft, to help you become impactful, to help you become aware. That's why we coach with a purpose. Our purpose is to make you aware of every area of your life that may be, one, hindering you from fully operating the way you should, or making you aware of areas of your life that you are already blossoming in and where you can improve. That's where we come in at. All right. Thomas, you want to have some last words before we actually end for today? It was amazing.
It was great, man. It was great. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Like always, it's been a plum-pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege. You can find me out there in that social media world, that business media world, Thomas Taylor III. My website is tailoryourdreams.com. Go out there, check it out. Hit my calendar if you want a free, consultation, kind of see where you are. You can find us here, Dinner with the Coaches. We're going to start to turn the corner with our platform. So we got some new and exciting things coming, starting to gain some momentum, but we hope that we're really putting you guys in a position where you're learning and you're gaining certain things, knowledge, because we just want to share. We got a heart to share for those that want to listen, so appreciate it. So it's a pleasure. Absolutely. My partner in crime.
Yes, absolutely. So guys, thank you so much for watching us here at Dinner with the Coaches. We will see you next week on Sisterhood Check-In at Friday at 10 p.m. We'll see you next week. Have an amazing weekend.
I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord that I wake again. I wake again. I pray the Lord that I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord that I wake again. I wake again. I pray the Lord that I wake.